want to do a cold open?
I mean, I don't know, man. I feel like this is a big day for us. This is a big episode.
Yeah, this is a big episode.
This is a thing right now, right?
Yeah,
It's been a year.
It's been a year.
Anniversary time.
I hate you
was
so
so long.
much.
But you know what?
But no, what people didn't see here when they're listening to it was that he was holding the guns in his hand too. Like he really had them. And he was shooting it in the air.
You know?
But these are
smiling.
celebratory guns.
See, every
That's
time I
not
think
a
anniversary,
thing.
I think Tony. You know what I'm saying?
On the anniversary with my girlfriend, I sing that song to her.
Oh, wait, you sing it?
Yeah, I sing it.
Are you
and
can
we
you give us
dance
a little?
to
Can you
it.
give us a little piece of it? I think we can do that part. You gonna get to the lyrics?
Anniversary. Anniversary.
James, you're not even gonna start with any of the lyrics at all. I thought we were gonna have like a team thing. And you just,
Anniversary.
okay, hold on.
Anniversary. Do you know what? Wait, at every point I was singing a different part.
You never matched up how the song starts. Okay, you gonna start with that? Okay, I'm gonna start with that.
No,
Okay.
go ahead.
No, you start with that.
I don't know what this song is.
Oh, you don't
You
know?
don't know Tony?
You know Tony? They also had it never rains in Southern California.
Okay, James. Can you stick the anniversary? You literally, that was a
Guys,
perfect song to
Southern
sing.
California kind of
Guys,
relates to. Okay.
it's been a year
It's been a year.
since we first launched Black Men Can't Jump in Hollywood.
Yup.
I feel like this is a time of reflection.
Yeah,
It's the summertime.
It's hot.
It's hot.
it is. It's hot.
You know, people are wearing less.
People are wearing less.
They are wearing less.
People are just generally happier.
They're going out more.
By the way, if you live in Australia, you're like, it's winter over here. Shut y'all north hemisphere up.
But it still ain't that cold in Australia. It ain't that cold.
Wait. Shut your north hemisphere up.
Right, something like that, right?
Whole hemisphere. Shut up.
Yeah, like, what do you think the biggest thing you've learned so far has been?
Man, this year, I didn't, you know what? I should have thought about that.
Like off the
I
top
should
of
have
your head.
thought about what I learned.
You know, I can tell you what I learned. I learned that sometimes, even in Hollywood, we always talk about black and white, but there's so many other races that get left to the wayside, especially after watching the Oscars this year, which was supposed to be so empowering and so whatever. You realize that, like, it made fun of Asians. It didn't include Latinos. I mean, the only Indian actor, actress that was there was...
Wait, what do you mean it didn't include Latinos, though?
I mean, like, they like...
Because Alejandro won.
No, what I'm saying, every time Chris Rock did a speech or something, it was legit talking about black and white. Like, it wasn't talking about, like, just people of color in general, which is, like, hurt in Hollywood, period. It's always down to, like, these two warring races, whereas, like, there's more than just black people and white people in the world.
Yeah,
know?
and I was... It's crazy because I thought you were going to say this in the second that I thought it, but I feel like the same thing. Like, I feel like it's not always black and white, but in a different way. There's so much gray, I think, when it comes to a lot of this. And I think that I think that definitely before...
Like Keanu Reeves.
Like Keanu Reeves, gray. Or who's the other person who's in that movie, Gray? Liam Neeson.
James.
No, but I definitely do think that before this started, I thought that it was very clearly like, you know, these are things that are happening and these, you know, and it's hard for these reasons. But the more we talk about it, the more things that we look at, the more I see that, like, man, it's more nuanced than that. For in some cases, you know, there's some cases where it's like clear, we can see what's happening. The other cases where it's like, oh yeah, there's a lot of gray, and I think that that's good because it makes it worth talking about.
Yeah, I feel like, I learned a little bit of, like, I guess what you both said, but particularly Jerah's, like, point. Like, I didn't really realize how desexualized Asian men were until, like, I was like, oh, wow, they never get to have a romantic lead. Like, it's a weird thing. So much so that I felt like it was such a big thing for, like, Crazy Ex-Girlfriend to have her main love interest be an Asian man. I thought that was really cool. The TV show, though. And then the other thing was, I feel like it was just the epiphany of, like, you know, it's really not like in my mind I kind of thought, oh, it is true that, you know, movies with like all black casts are usually like not great. And then when we saw Best Man Holiday, I was like, wait a minute, this isn't a thing. Like, it's just an assumption that we have, and people don't go watch those movies or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we assume it's bad. And then also how women are treated. Like, I feel like every time, it just came up recently, actually. Every time someone says, like, women need to be paid more, women need to get more, like, roles. And I'm like, that's true. But I'm like, every time I hear that, it's always a white woman saying it. Whereas there's, like, even for instance, right now, like, you know, Comic-Con would have happened weeks ago. And, like, the Marvel female cast photo came out. And there are like 8 or 10 women. All right, have like some black, some white. But I'm looking at it like, man, there's no Asian woman in this. Man, there's no like. I think there is an Asian woman in Guardians coming out, but it's like there's no Asian woman
and
like in this list.
Squad.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, it's like this feminism that exists is, I guess, something that I've heard about before, like the white feminism, where it's like, yeah, it's for women, but it excludes so many other people. That, like, again, we don't have a black Margot Robbie. You know, we don't have a black Jennifer Lawrence or Indian or Asian Jennifer Lawrence. You know, like, they're still fighting to exist in Hollywood, period.
Yeah.
Which is like, we have so far to go. It's so far to go. But, you know.
It's true.
That's where we are.
Yeah.
Wow, this was actually way more sombering than I wanted it to be.
I mean, as we learned, I mean, it was like, you learn how messed up the world is.
Well,
like, that's
Yeah,
what
I mean, that's what but I think that is what we learned.
It's true.
This started out as a bit.
summation of everything was.
Yeah. I also learned like way more people liked the swirl than we thought would. And that's weird.
More people like the swirl than I like the swirl.
At this point,
It's like, people like the swirl more.
I don't know that Jerah's ever liked this.
Yeah, like literally, it was like we didn't want
to be clear, he did invent the.
Yeah, but it was a thing of like the swirl came from like,
the swirl was
noticing.
a specific movie that.
Yeah, it came up noticing something, but it was like, oh yeah.
Nah, you know, he talked about it before we talked about any movie.
Yeah,
but it's true because like it became a thing of noticing it, but it was like, It's
a real
that.
thing too.
It is, but it's like trying to notice that while not excluding or depreciating the thought of black women.
Yeah, but the thing, but I do think that a lot more people like the swirl than we thought, because there are people that are actually like that experience the adverse effects, I guess you would say, of the lack of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we were talking about Asian men being desexualized, and a good friend of mine is married to she's a white woman, she's married to an Asian guy, and she literally just talked about how like. Yeah, you never see that, you know? And so, like, when you're the person who has the feelings that you have, you're an outside, like, you're a different, you know what I mean? Like, and that's weird and shouldn't happen. It shouldn't be an outsider to like or love the person that you love.
You know who's an outsider? Axel Foley.
That is a brilliant transition.
Thank you. We gonna do this show. Here we go. Beverly Hills Cop 2. 1 year anniversary.
Jonathan Braylock, James III, Jerah Milligan.
What more can I say? You know what it is.
Black men can't jump.
Black actors, man. Black actors. All right.
Welcome to Black Men Can't Jump in Hollywood.
Hollywood City.
One
year, y'all. 1 year. This is the 1 year. That is the 1 year. 1 year. Do the podcast.
Anniversary.
1 year. Black men can't jump. Beverly Hills Cop. Beverly Hills Cop. But 1 year. Wow, that was beautiful.
That was possibly the best we've ever done.
Wow, that was an accident.
Go.
Wow. Okay, I'm done for
Welcome
today.
to the 1 year anniversary, almost, give or take a couple days.
I mean, we close.
Black Men
close. We
Can't
almost
Jump in
there.
Hollywood. I'm Jonathan Braylock.
I'm Jerah Milligan.
And I'm James the Third.
And for those of you who don't know, this is a podcast where we review films of leading black actors or other people of color and kind of discuss them in the context of race and the cause. The cause being more leading people of color in films.
Yeah, but you know what? This is a year, so don't expect us to keep explaining the show because we've been on for a year.
Yeah.
So that means you should know by now.
Yeah, I guess we're done.
I mean, if you got friends,
Yeah, this is the
explain
last
it to your
time.
friends.
So last time we explained in the show.
Yeah.
Ever.
Tired of doing this. We've done it 53 times. 53.
This is Beverly Hills Cop 2 is what we're reviewing. Of course, because the first film we ever reviewed was Beverly Hills Cop.
Yeah.
So we had to review the squeakquel.
Yeah, and I guess stay tuned for Beverly Hills Cop 3 in a year from now.
See, that's the trend that I was worried about. I was like, I get why we did this in a little bit, but I was like, we could have. I mean,
we got to keep doing this.
We got to keep doing
Hopefully
this.
they'll make a fourth one.
And then,
I mean, well, maybe we can find a pilot and just do the
Yeah,
pilot.
we can just do the pilot.
Oh, goodness. So, yes, Beverly Hills Cop 2 came out in 1987, I believe.
Yep, 87.
Wait, how many? If the first one was, 84 or 82? No, 80.
84, right?
I think so.
Yeah, so that's a 3 year.
3 years. So it was like, obviously, Beverly Hills Cop did very well. Beverly Hills Cop 2 didn't do as well,
Beverly Hills Cop 2 did 300 mil.
but it wasn't as well as Beverly Hills Cop 1, was it?
Let me check. I know this budget was 20 mil and made 300 mil.
I didn't look this
that's
up.
crazy.
I
which
didn't
is
look this
obviously
up.
why they made a third one. Yeah,
But
go ahead.
somebody told me that Beverly Hills Cop 2 was direct to video. It's like one of the first times they did that. But it was like it's not what it is now. It was like
It was
an
released both. It was in the
It
movies
was released
and-
both at the same time.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
amazing.
really?
Yeah, so that might have something that might
I
contribute.
mean, I remember my stepdad, he has this VHS still to this day. We have the VHS to Beverly Hills Cop 2. Well, the first pair of breasts I saw was in this movie.
Oh, nice.
I remember like,
so funny
wait,
that
am I
you
supposed to see
know
this?
that.
And I remember it because I was like,
Yeah.
Because when you're a kid, you don't know
don't know what's up.
Like, I didn't know that was like not a thing I was supposed to see.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh man.
Literally, Box Office Mojo is down.
Oh,
wait, here we go.
guys,
Here
we don't
go.
know.
You're
We don't
right.
know.
So
Just
it was.
wiki,
It made 300 million worldwide. The thing is, it made less domestically, but it made than Beverly Hills Cop, but it made 146 million foreign.
Yeah.
How much did Beverly Hills Cop make total?
Okay, Beverly Hills Cop made 316 million worldwide, but only 81 million foreign, which
Oh.
proves the theory that not proves, but it's another piece of evidence to the theory that I was talking about.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So foreign people didn't know who Eddie Murphy was, but then Beverly Hills Cop comes out, it does really well.
Right.
And then when Beverly Hills Cop 2 comes out, it does way better foreign.
Yeah. In one of his stand-ups, wasn't he talking about that?
Like when he
in
goes
Delirious?
overseas? Yeah, Delirious, yeah.
Which was right before that?
Delirious was, Delirious might have been.
Oh, no, wait, no.
80s?
Raw was right before.
87.
Anyway, sorry. All the Eddie Murphy fans are like, this is horrendous. and I apologize.
well,
'cause
let's-
We all have phones, but no one wants to look up anything.
No, my phone's on airplane mode because I just want to look at my notes. But doesn't he talk? He does talk about that, I think, in one of his specials. So,
Yeah. So here's the thing. What did you guys think of the sequel?
I really like this movie. I really like. I think I remember the first time I noticed this was like a year ago. Like when we watched the first one, I watched the second one right after it. But the first time I noticed it was like it's directed by Tony Scott, and so it's like darker,
Yeah,
you know,
right.
and like even the element
more
of like
violence.
fancy, a lot more violence, and the element of like fancy Beverly Hills is like not there anymore. Like
Right.
it's not like. And I don't know, like there's just
It's
something
there, but it's like it's more grounded. It's like
Well,
it's there,
but-
but not glamorized.
Well, yeah, like in the scene when we first see them, you know, in the police department, it's like dark and gritty and feels like there's like smoke in the room. You know what I mean? Like,
which is such a dark contrast to
Yeah,
like the first
to
one was
what it
like
was.
bright and clean and like
so like yeah, like I really like it, and Axel is his A game, like even more so than he is in the first one. Like he is insanely smart. Like he thinks of things so quickly. It's like it's crazy. It's unbelievable how good he is at stuff. But
unbelievable.
I don't know. Like
You saying a black man being smart is unbelievable?
No, I'm saying
Is that what you're saying, James the
I
Third?
mean,
Do you believe MacGyver is unbelievable?
Yeah.
Oh,
With a paper clip and a rubber band, he built a bomb. I don't believe it. No, but you guys know what I mean. Like he's so. It's like he's such the fast talking, like smooth, like quick witted black guy. And
he's also super smart.
He's super smart, and it's clear why that archetype is desirable and why people have tried to keep recreating it. But like, it is crazy how, he's flawless in this one, right?
I don't know if he's flawless.
I noticed it's funny because I remember growing up, and this is the one I remember out of all three of them. I remember the second one.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember loving it, but for some reason, it's not to say the movie was bad. I was kind of bored by the movie a little bit. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't even know why. I just wasn't like, it was just hard to focus on it. It was just hard to just like pay attention to it. It felt like, for me, for instance, I was hoping maybe to learn something different about Axel. Like maybe like for instance, like to me, it's like if you're going to have a sequel, maybe instead of kind of rehashing the original, like I wanted to see like a little bit about like his background, maybe see him grow as a character.
Right.
Whereas I felt like he didn't grow. He was just the same cool dude he was before. And the thing is, he still again wasn't sexualized. Not saying I wanted him to be, but like he was this dude who's he's a cool black dude. This is a sequel to his movie.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he was literally not even, and he was around beautiful people, like women, like he kind of looked at, and like women he kind of hit on, but like he was just not even there as a man almost.
There are literally times.
He was a couple, like, there are like moments where he talks about it.
He talks about it, but like no one looked at him like, look at this fine, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like, no one gave him an eye or like.
There are moments where like a scene could clearly have sexual tension, and then he immediately responds like he's a brother figure or
and
do you know what, and it's like whoa.
And it's not to say that like, there needs to be like some type of sexual tension in every movie, but sexual tension exists in the world. Like people are attracted to each other.
Especially in an 80s action movie.
Well, no, but in the real world, like no, but like if you're living in this world, people are like, you might see someone, for women and men, like who walks down the street and like oh, this person is attractive, and if they stopped and spoke to you, you would react differently.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like he didn't have that. No one treated him any differently. It was like he got a sequel without the benefits of being the star of a sequel to me.
Yeah.
So it was like, it was weird. This movie was weird for me.
Yeah, it's interesting. I would say I did like this movie. That was the biggest concern, I guess, I had from it, though, is what Jerah is saying. And it was like a sequel. Like he didn't grow as a character or whatever. I mean, I don't really expect in action movies necessarily for people to grow as characters. Like it generally doesn't happen.
Well, Rosewood and Taggart, they grew.
Yeah, I don't know. Rosewood became like a badass with like.
I don't know if they grew as much as they changed. Like
they evolved though.
Yeah, that's true. They did evolve. I guess Eddie's evolution was just like that. He was just even better at this than he was the first time.
Yeah.
And he knew it. Like he was like even cockier about it, and like. Yeah. He would like laugh. I mean, it's so funny though. Like I swear, the director was like, Eddie, you have the perfect laugh. We're gonna do it all the time. like even in the beginning of the movie is like the first time you see Eddie after the bank robbery happens. Like he's like dressed up. He's in this fine looking suit. He's looking at himself in the mirror, and you're like, man, this is a good looking guy. He's like looking at himself in like a very like. A deliberate way to like be like, this is an attractive man, and then he immediately just goes, and starts laughing, and I'm like, why is he laughing?
Yeah,
but it was like almost to like be like, just kidding, we're not gonna make Eddie sexy. That's kind of how it felt. And he would laugh, like he would like see something and like laugh and be like, oh, this is great. That being said, I think Eddie's still like. Was the star of the movie in the fact that, the movie couldn't have been made without him. He was like, they kept like giving him, kind of toss ups for scenes to like hit the ball out of the park with his comedy. And he was still able to like rope a couple. You know, we had Chris Rock who had a cameo.
Yeah.
You know, it was probably one of his first films.
It was his first, right?
So,
Eddie, y'all know that story, right?
Yeah, Chris Rock talks about it. It's like he happened to go to L.A., visited Eddie, and Eddie just like threw him in the movie, right?
What happened was he was doing stand-up in New York. Eddie happened to be in the back, and he heard like in the back. And then they just hung out for like 2 days and was like, you're coming to L.A. with me. And he just took him.
Yo,
and I
bless.
think in the story, or at least in the way that he tells it, like he didn't tell him how he was getting back. Like he just took him.
Yes, and I've heard Rock tell the story. It's like, but he put him in a movie. He put him in a movie.
yeah,
man.
which is awesome. So, I mean, the breakdown of the film is mostly just, you know, there's these series of bank robberies happening. It's like a very like a person who leaves these clues, like they're considered the alphabet robber or whatever.
Alphabet killer.
Alphabet killer.
The alphabet killer. And what's his name? The chief.
Yeah.
Gets
From Beverly Hills.
from the first one, gets shot. Doesn't actually die.
They shoot him at such close
Point
range.
blank range
even though
twice
it makes
in the
no sense.
chest. Point blank range in the chest. Both lungs are gone.
And he is still alive.
Was it just twice or was it 3 times?
It was twice, but
But Bridget, no. Wait, did Bridget shoot him twice? No, it might have been 3 times. Because
I
he gets
feel like
shot
the
from the
first guy
car.
shot
He
him.
gets shot from the car and he gets shot by
and then she
Bridget
shoots him twice.
I felt like one of them shot him twice. But anyway,
I think Bridget did shoot him up close
Point
2 times.
blank
With a
range.
desert eagle.
I was like, how did this guy live?
Yo.
But anyway,
Insane.
even though we never actually physically see him again. And so Eddie hears about it and literally just flies to Beverly
Immediately
Hills,
goes back.
to try to figure it out. Yeah. So what did you think about the fact that like he was like so one thing I did notice was like in the first movie you had all these shots of Detroit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the crime and there was a lot of you saw like a lot of black people, and obviously there's his chief in Detroit is black, but like I felt like they like didn't show Detroit as much as they didn't set up that city really.
Which is interesting because he doesn't go, I timed it, he doesn't go to Beverly Hills until 17 minutes into the movie.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, when they show Detroit, it's either in like a warehouse or just a shot of him driving a car.
Or the police station.
Yeah,
Well,
the police
that's the
station.
thing. Like in the first movie, we got like a real sense of like what was different about Detroit and LA. In this one, like he starts immediately in this fresh suit.
Yeah, flashy, got the nice watch.
Right. And so yeah, sure, he's been upgraded. Like what he's doing is higher profile stuff, I guess is what that means, right? But like
Well, we find out that it's really just because he's like doing it to he's undercover.
he's undercover, yeah.
And like I guess that's a part of his he calls it what, flash
But
money or
it's like
something?
that, yeah. And he flash money, and he's in a Ferrari or whatever it is
Yeah,
he's
he's in-
driving.
yes.
But it's like he's just big and a character versus like this dude who is like, I mean, and granted he's very grounded in this at times, but like Axel Foley in this is like this big guy now versus like this person who's living in Detroit like day by day. Like we don't get the like him and his friend thing that we have in the first one. Like
You kind of see him with, was it Paul Ryan?
yeah, but that was always a comical relationship.
Yeah, it was comical.
Versus like him and his friend who gets shot. That instigates the going to LA or the going to Beverly Hills in the first.
I mean,
movie.
this movie literally just rehashes the original. I mean, that's what this movie, like
To be
there's,
fair, that's what most sequels do.
I know,
Yeah.
but I'm saying like this movie doesn't, like to me, this movie doesn't, at least, I don't know, man, at least like when you have a movie to me, it's like the new villain like challenges the hero in some type of way. To,
Ooh,
like,
that's a good point.
Like they do something, like to me it's like even if the movie
Right.
transitions, like something different happens where like the hero has to like flex a new muscle.
Right.
Not to me, Eddie Murphy doesn't. Yeah, we get more Eddie, which
Well,
is great, but we don't see like the more
think
of
about
the
it, like,
detective Eddie.
Do you think that this movie is more of a comedy than like the kind of like mystery? Was the first one a mystery?
Well, the first
More?
one was like,
Yeah.
this one was like, yeah, he was trying to solve a mystery.
Right.
This one, I mean, it was a cop. This was a straight up cop movie, which I get, especially when you think about who directed it. And there's no distance, like, but he makes very good. No, that's not true. He does great cop dramas.
Well, they were trying to find the difference with this is, it's not. The stakes are not as high for him in this one. Like, the chief has been shot, but he's not dead. We don't know.
That's true.
Right?
He's not dead.
And this connection is a little more thin. It's like this guy that he met, and that he like kind of knows and like worked with a few years ago.
Right.
But it's not a friend from his past that is really important to him.
Yeah.
It's not like and so because of that, because this one they're also trying to solve a mystery. Like they're trying to solve who is the
They're
officer.
trying to solve a bigger almost like a mystery that people that everybody else cares about,
Right. Mm-hmm.
just as much as he does. Whereas the first time, nobody cared about his friend dying.
It was just personal.
Yeah, and I think that's why it feels so different, because at the core of it for him in that first one, and you can see it and you feel it throughout, and I guess they kind of keep returning to this idea of the chief is in.
You know what? I'm not gonna blame Tony Scott. Rest in peace, Tony Scott. I'm gonna blame this writer. Who is this writer?
Well, story by Eddie Murphy, co-story by it was him and somebody else.
Daniel Batch. I'm blaming him, not Tony Scott. Because the thing is, it just felt like the action was good. Like, it looked different. It felt way more grounded to me, but it just felt like.
It might have been funnier too.
Oh, I mean, it
Yeah,
was
I think
definitely
it's
way more
definitely
comedy.
funnier.
It was way more comedy and way more action.
Yeah.
But it just didn't feel like there was no. It was not for me to latch onto. Like, literally, I was doing everything but watching this movie while watching it.
But that feels like typical. For me, it feels like typical 80s action sequel stuff. Like not every sequel is gonna be Terminator 2 or Aliens.
Woo.
Do you know what I mean? Like those two.
Man,
those are both
but
Cameron,
they
right?
should be.
Yeah,
though.
yeah, but you know what I mean? But like those two are sequels that really like change how you look at the first one and add so much to, and are bigger, but like add so much to it. Whereas like this is a sequel. I mean, I'm gonna loosely say it's like Die Hard, the second Die Hard, which is like the same thing. Like it's Christmas again.
Yeah.
They're in he's trapped somewhere.
First off, Die Hard 2 doesn't exist, bro. Did
It really is like Die Hard too.
But it's like
that come out in the 80s? 'Cause I feel like
Yeah, I
this
think
came
so.
out.
Yeah, I think so.
Because I feel like this was a time when like sequels started to become popular again. Like this
Yeah.
was like, because they used to make them back in the day, but it was like they almost were like remakes. So like this is when like sequels started getting made. So it was like, I mean, good job, Eddie. But it was just like I just wanted something out of him and this character.
Also, like so like this other thing is happening in Detroit where he's like trying to crack down on this like, fraudulent credit cards, which also didn't seem like that big of a thing.
Yeah.
Like to pour all this money into. I was like, wait, you're pouring all this money to just crack somebody who's just selling fake credit cards? Like, you need this much money to do that? Like, and but they had like that scene, and then like his chief was like, you need to have like in 3 days, if you don't have like an arrest, like I'm pulling everything.
Yeah.
And you're in like deep trouble. And like that literally never gets resolved. It's
Yeah.
like it was like this like I was like, oh yeah, but then like Eddie doesn't care about it at all.
Yeah.
He just says like, great, it just buys me time to go do the thing that I
Right.
want to do.
And what I actually like about that though, in the case of this movie, is
that chief is so funny too. By the way,
he's hilarious. Everything
He's
out of his
best.
mouth is gold. That's the worst part of Beverly Hills Cop 3 is he dies halfway through it, or like he's the instigating. Yeah, he's the instigating action for the inciting incident for the. But anyway, it's like
Wait. The first one, his friend dies.
the second
The
one.
second one, the white guy gets shot,
gets shot.
doesn't die. Mm-hmm. Third one, the black police chief gets shot and dies.
Yeah, and I believe
His friend in the first
like
one's white.
an unwritten.
Oh, that's true.
You're just talking about who lives and who dies.
Why the black dude died?
He's stupid.
tell your story.
But what was I trying to say?
Hamilton fan, though.
What I liked about the fact that wasn't resolved is that like it further showed just how much better at everything Axel was. Like, because to jump to the end when the shit hits the fan there, like the chief is just like, Axel, you better just come back. Like, he's like not even like.
I know. He's not even really that mad.
He's just like so relaxed about
He's
it.
just like, all right, you done it in California doing your thing?
We need you back to work.
But it's like, it doesn't help the city of Detroit at all that he solved these murders or these robberies in Beverly Hills.
And we know that chief's his job is literally on the line if he doesn't start like.
And even says at one point, like, I mean, this movie, man.
So he goes over to he flies over to Beverly Hills, and like Taggart and what's the other one?
It's Rosewood and
Rosewood,
Taggart, right?
Rosewood and Taggart, like they've been like demoted to traffic cop duty because this new chief that is over there, or lieutenant or whatever the heck the ranking is, like has fired. They said like they fired everybody who used to work here except for the three of us.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
Well,
it happens.
Just because I guess he doesn't like police or something. And then, he's just like always yelling at them. And they're like, oh no, we can't really do this. And Axe is just like, come on. And they're like, all right, great. And what's the first clue that he has? Is it the shell casing? So he finds the shell casing and immediately goes.
And he immediately knows everything about the shell case.
I mean,
he knows everything about it.
He's like,
no one else knows.
Well, no. So
anything.
he knows the type of. Well, okay, it's fair to say that. Okay, he knows the type of gun. That's just somebody who knows the type of gun, right?
Yeah.
But like, how did he know to go from that to that specific gun range again?
Oh well,
no, he took him a while to get to that gun range, though, wasn't it?
But also, no, I think he goes. If anything, it's like 2 scenes later, so it's pretty quick.
Wait. We
didn't talk about the fact that he stole
the
a house.
That's my favorite part of the movie.
All right, so he's just driving down Beverly Hills like he does in the first one, like just enjoying everything, laughing at nothing. He like in the first movie, he sees like a blonde woman, and she kind of smiles at him, and he smiles back and then laughs.
None of that.
In this movie, they show a shot of like 2 women in a Corvette,
But they don't
like notice
They don't
him.
acknowledge him.
He like notices them, but they don't notice him. And I was like, hey man,
They show so many white women in this. Like, it's the one in like walking her dog in like the gym clothes. It's like 2 walking down the street. It's the 2 in the car, and it's like he gets no love. This is
all right. Can we also talk about
the song? There's got to be a better way.
Oh God! Good Lord! Yeah, that song. Anyway, so he sees this house that people are working on, doing construction. He looks at it and he's like,
It's so great.
And then he turns the car
I
around.
just got to describe this moment. He has the sunglasses up, like they're like not on, they're like up on his forehead, and he like passes the house. He sees it, throws his glasses down. He does, and then he turns around. Pulls it.
Turns around.
It's like so ridiculous how he gets the idea.
But then when he hops out the car, he doesn't have the shades on, and I'm like, is this a jump cut? Like, did anyone notice continuity? Sorry, that was just like a pet peeve. I was like, did no one notice this? Anywho.
So he literally just walks over and he's like, who's the foreman? And the guy's like, right over there. And he's like, great. All right, everybody, stop your work. Stop what you're doing. Stop what you're doing. You got the new, yo, who's the foreman? I need the foreman. I'm the foreman. Oh, great. You get the new plans? New plans, what? Oh my God, you didn't get the new plans? Give me the new plans. Give me that plan. And literally just does this song and dance about new plans. And they're like, and he's like, everybody go home. And they're all like, great.
Wait, he says the new plans are, there's supposed to be no right angles.
Yeah,
on
no
this
right
house.
angles. You like some people.
No right angles.
Some people just like living in circles.
Yeah, because somebody's like, he's like, wait, they want this to be a circle?
This should be a circle.
Like some people just like living in circles.
It's ridiculous.
Oh my goodness, it's so
insane.
silly. I mean,
and then he has a house.
that might be the most. Okay, it's not skipping. I know we don't. I feel like we don't do this all the time. But like, I try to think watching this, what are the memorable moments from this movie? And like the first one, you had a banana in the tailpipe. You had him going into like this, like I feel like there were a couple. And in this one, outside, I almost forgot about him still in the house. I can't think of one moment I was like, my boy Eddie's killing it. Like, and it was just no. Like, what did you guys have like a moment? I was like,
know.
yo,
Well,
I liked all of his like cop specifics, like the fingerprint thing. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And like the gum, like being able to pick the lock and not set the alarm. That was like crazy. I was like, there's no way this works, but this is a cool.
Yes, those two things were things that I remembered from seeing it the first time. Another time, and my favorite moment in this movie. I think it's a movie. It's a thing that I will always remember when I think about Eddie Murphy. It's when he takes the vitamins into the place,
From the back.
and he
Throws water on his face.
water on his face, and it's just like
yeah.
it's nuclear
that's
products
when he goes-
or
yeah.
whatever. It's that part
Which,
to
like,
me,
I was like, I don't know what
I don't
person
know.
believes this. Like, who believes, like,
That-
just because he's sweating,
I was like,
that you believe him? That in a paper bag is an explosive?
I was like, yo,
Who transports
First off-
explosives in a paper bag?
a black dude back in the 80s in Beverly Hills coming in there sweating with a paper bag, not dressed in a suit and tie like he works in the place. Bruh.
No,
the other thing-
no, he's delivering something. He's a delivery person. That's why they immediately are like, no, you got to get out of here.
Yeah.
You got to go. And he's like, and he's so. Listen, this okay. So I've been talking about how he's
find that
too smart in this movie.
Right.
Okay, so check this out. That moment in particular happens in stages. It's like first of all, also the moment before this that he doesn't act out is like the Johnny Wishbone thing, which is insane. But then in this,
Johnny Wishbone.
he gets out of his car. He goes over and he looks. Before they even get into what he's talking about, like what he's gonna do inside, he's like, "What's in the bag? Oh, my vitamins. I'll take them." He just takes his vitamins.
Right.
Then he gets inside and he looks at the person. So like he doesn't know what he's gonna do yet.
Right.
He looks at the person and then somebody just shows up next to him with wine in a bucket of ice, and he immediately goes, "What year is it?" and then puts his hand in it and puts it on his face. Like.
Yeah, why did he
Like,
say what year?
What is like? It's the reason he stopped. That was like his excuse
he
for stopping
stopped.
the guy, and then immediately goes into the this is explosive waste. But it's like how like what even where even does that idea come from? It's insane how smart he is, or how like he's always thinking of the next
Would you call him exceptional?
he's an exceptional Negro in this.
Wow.
He
He's had no flaw. You know what it is?
He is. I don't think he has a single.
He
flaw
does
in this
not.
movie.
He has no flaws.
That's true.
He's super caring. Like he has no
well,
flaws.
to be fair, action heroes usually don't have flaws.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, if we think about the greatest action hero of all time, John McClane.
I was like really wondering what you were gonna say. I was like,
he has extreme flaws, which we know about, in which they point out in every movie he's in. You know why he's not like out on the field. Like not saying this movie has to be that, but I'm saying
but the difference between this, and we talked about this on the Rush
Rainbow
Hour
had
episode.
flaws.
We talked about this on the Rush Hour episode. Chris Tucker's mouth is his flaw,
Right.
Like
Yeah.
it actually gets in
And
his
people
way.
say that, and people say
it, and he has to like. There are times when he has to come to terms with. Where he has to say like, like the part when he's like, "Yeah, Johnson, I don't need you to see. I need you to do it. Like, can you do this for me?" Like when he has to like stop being crazy and he has to like just talk.
honest.
Whereas
That's true.
like in this movie, like literally just his mouth will get him out of everything every single time.
yeah, and he doesn't even break a sweat.
Yeah, no.
He knows it will.
He needed fake sweat for the
yeah, exactly. Okay, can we talk about? Let's talk about the relationship between him and the daughter.
Man, I took notes on this.
Because this was one of the weirdest things. And it was like, there were two things. One, I was like, look, they're working really hard to not have him be a romantic interest at all.
Yeah.
Because like, it's so like, in this kind of scene, like, even if they decided at the end of the movie, like, we shouldn't be together, it really made no sense to have this, the daughter was just there to be like a pretty face, but then not be romantic. And then like I realized, they're kind of showing they're making Eddie seem less dangerous and more familial. And they're like I feel like they want like white audience to feel safe. Did you feel that way?
I didn't feel that way, but
I
I think that's an interesting
because
point.
they had like there was a moment where she even like puts her head on his shoulder and she's like kind of crying and he's like comforting her, and like in movies like this is usually a point where there's like some chemistry or whatever. They're both very attractive people, right? And like he doesn't even think twice about it. He's like, and I was like, wow, like you rarely see. I feel like you rarely see that because usually, there's like this there's this unspoken intimidation of like black men with white women. And like, I felt like they were like, oh, let's work really hard for people not to feel intimidated by it and show like, hey man, he's just a really nice, caring guy. He doesn't want to have sex with your women. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
No, it definitely felt like they purposely went out of the way. Because, this movie, again, just like the original, felt like there was a love story here, but because it was Eddie Murphy, they were like, oh no, we can't do that. It's crazy enough we got the black man in Beverly Hills. Because you think about it, every other, at least in the first one, they had that other black cop who was there.
oh, that's true.
In this one, like, outside of Chris Rock and
Who
random
was
people,
like, a car service
guy, like, he wasn't interacting with many people of color in this movie.
Yeah.
And so I think about that, what Bray's saying is
Beverly
kind of
Hills,
true.
right.
It's like, there are certain points in this movie that I'm like, and I'm not trying to say that women have to be love interests. But what I'm saying is, in a movie like this, and in a situation like this in real life, if there is a history, both people are single, both people are like grieving, and they are close, there is some type of chemistry that happens between humans.
Yeah.
And like, this movie purposely went out of his way to take that away from this man, and I'm curious to know why.
Yeah, I took notes of times when it happened. When she's brought up, I think her name's like Jan or something, right?
Was she in the first movie, by the way?
No. So and I thought that
She wasn't, right? I was like, who is this character?
And I
that
thought
they're
that the
introducing?
The friend was in the first one.
Right. And I was
Right.
just like, why is and they seem like they know each other.
So right, so that's what I thought. I thought that her primary role. So it's so interesting that you say that, because now I'm looking at this movie in a whole different way about her like him being acceptable to white people. But they introduce her to sort of like help to establish a relationship between him and the chief.
Yeah.
Like he goes, "How's Jan?" Like, I think he brings it up first,
Right?
And then he says, had she not had a father with a badge, something would have happened, like that. And then he just responds, "Yeah, she's great, isn't she?" Like, it's such a like immediately like de-escalating it
Yeah.
to something else. And then in the first scene that he has with her, the one after he's like hugging her to be like, what happened, and like she can be there to talk,
Right.
to sort of like again, I feel like it feels like her role is to sort of like help it feel like, oh yeah, he has a relationship, this is important, there's some stakes here, quote unquote. But then in the next scene when he's
at the
snooping
home.
around their house, and she goes after him. She kisses him on like either it's like a quick peck on the lips or on the cheek,
On
but
the
it's
cheek,
like really
on the
like
cheek.
it's really quick, and then
You know who kiss you on the cheek? That's when you a friend.
yeah, and
That's when you getting no action.
they literally have no anything.
Nothing.
Like it doesn't feel like they
To the point where did you hear one of the last lines she said?
No, what?
It was like she was like, all right, you got to get out of here. I'm gonna go take a shower.
Yes.
And I was like, I'm gonna go take a shower.
Yes, I noted
An
that.
attractive person says, I'm gonna go take a shower. Eddie wasn't like, like maybe I'll
Right?
stick around. He didn't even make a joke.
No.
He was just like, great.
Exactly. It was so weird.
Like they were brother and sister.
It was like they were brother and sister,
Yeah.
but exactly like they were brother and sister. If this were any other action movie made in the 1980s, and a woman that said to the lead, "I'm going to take a shower," they would have then had sex in said shower.
Why can't
also.
They would have had sex in the shower.
Yeah. Also, just to pause real quick, like for anybody who's listening, being like, why would you want that? Like, this movie was not feminist by any means. Like, there are plenty
Yeah,
of
it would have made the movie worse.
there was a plenty of like misogynistic moments in this
Unnecessarily
movie.
trip to the strip
There's like
club.
they go to a strip club, they go to the Playboy Mansion. Like, there's gratuitous shots of women's butts all over this movie.
He keeps calling the tall blonde woman big bitch.
Yeah.
Keeps
They
calling
use
her
that word.
big bitch.
They use that word a lot. Like, not only that, there's like the sub thing with like Taggart's like Taggart's wife, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like left him, and like they're kind of like making fun of like this like nagging wife who's like gonna come back at the end, like, and she does. Like, you never see her though. Women don't speak to each other, even though like the lead bad guy's like main henchman is like a woman. She like
Bridget.
it's still like it's that female fatale
One of his lines
stereotype.
to her is how long would it take to shave those legs because she's so tall?
Yeah.
And they have, when she's at the shooting range, she's shooting, in the shot of her at first with the show that she's showing a gun It's a shot up because this is still the 80s. So they still were sexual but kind of reserved. A shot of her legs first in the heels and then pans up to see her shooting the gun.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
So I'm just saying, like, they didn't not make Eddie have a romantic interest because they cared about women's rights. Like, or they didn't want, like, that was not the reason. It was very clearly not. Because also, like, the last line that they say about that woman after they kill her is like, women, huh? Like, it's literally that.
yeah, that's what Taggart said.
The last line is like, women, right?
They
Am I right?
killed a woman.
Taggart shoots her.
Women.
And again,
And he says, women, am I right?
And you know
That's
what?
the last line.
You know,
I was like, what?
I have a question, and this is about to get too deep, so cut me off.
All right, okay.
Taggart kills Bridget Nielsen's character, right? Shoots her in the back. My question is, as a cop,
Okay.
right? As a cop, you're trained to like disarm people.
Here we go.
So my thing is, if I see somebody, if I'm a cop, I have my gun out, I see someone pointing the gun at you, I'm behind them. Is there no way to get you from not shooting that gun without killing you?
Of course there's a way.
And my thing is watching movies like this,
Of course.
where cops get to do badass kind of shit, which is literally shoot first, ask questions later. Has that affected us so much so in these movies that now when it happens in real life, it's like, oh, what do we expect? Because watching this movie, I started looking at what cops were doing, and I'm like, this is some of the same shit that we're getting mad at now because it's like, wait, they're just cowboys. Like, how come these cowboys just roaming the streets, do whatever they want? And in this movie, it's like, that's what they're doing, and that's what gets applauded.
I mean, we talked about that in Ride Along too. The way like how abusive they were, like how readily, like it was like funny that they were like knocking people upside their head to get information from them.
And also
like,
in Blue Streak, I think he goes, "This is a do whatever I want and get away with it badge." Like when he becomes a cop,
Right.
You know, and like
beating up Dave Chappelle's character.
Dave Chappelle.
Because like in this movie, like some of the stuff, like Eddie is super cool, but some of the stuff he does, and I get it as a movie. The only reason I'm even thinking about this is because of the state of the world and the situations happening. But like they literally shoot first. And it happens in almost all of these movies that we watch. They either shoot first or they beat up somebody. And it's like, this is stuff that happens in real life. And people are like, but no, that doesn't exist. And I'm like, we've been seeing it in films and we're seeing it in real life. So this comes from something.
That strip club scene. So they go to like the strip club to wait, why do they go to that strip club?
Why do they go to the strip club? I know all of a sudden the bad guy.
Why do they go to the strip
club? The bad guy is there, but
I can't remember.
Did they
know that he was there? No.
Wait, I can't remember if they went after he picks up the matches.
Maybe that's what it is, because he owns the strip club.
Strip club?
The bad guy
he owns the strip club.
Yeah.
Got it. You're right. They do have the... No.
Or is that after?
That's after. They get the matches from the car because the guy gives the matches
I felt like
to the
it was
people they were going to kill him.
Wait, how did they get to the strip club?
Because they followed them from the house to the strip club.
385 was definitely connected to a clue earlier. That's the name of the strip club.
Right.
So I don't remember what it is that instigates it in that moment, but early on in the movie, the chief is looking at something that says 385.
Right. So they're at the... Wait, what did they do at the strip club? Man, I'm trying to remember.
They sat down and looked at a couple
lot
of
of-
women,
lot of
do
naked
some
women.
dances.
I know there were naked women.
And then
But anyway, they leave.
He sees like what was it? Eddie goes to the bar, gets his Coke, and he's like, "Who's the blonde haired guy?" And he's like, "Oh, that's the guy who owns the strip club." And that's when he knows like to leave and follow that guy. But it's like, you don't know why he's following the owner of the club. Like at no point is it established like why he's following that dude.
Yeah. But as they leave, these people come to try to kill them, and they just have this shootout on the middle of like a Beverly Hills like street.
They just openly shoot.
They just start openly
People
shooting.
are
Like
definitely getting hit by straight
I was just like,
bullets.
what? I was like, you guys are reckless with your guns right now.
Yeah. I mean, let's not forget.
And they were also reckless with the
drive.
driving. Good God.
But it's interesting though because we see it in movies, but in Bad Boys, it's a thing. Like you can't just be shooting.
Well, in Bad Boys, they get in trouble every time it happens.
Every time
In this movie, they kind of get in trouble, but it doesn't feel as the same because the guy was yelling at them already for literally just like working on the case.
Right.
Yes.
That's what they're getting yelled. They're getting yelled at for like doing stuff
They're not supposed to do.
they're
Not for
supposed
shooting
to
up.
do.
Like Bad Boys, actually, now that you bring it up, Bad Boy does a good thing about like their big shootouts happen in remote locations. Like Bad Boys 1 is in the warehouse. Bad Boys 2 is on the island.
Yeah.
So it's like they make sure. I mean, even though they're driving through the city at one point, but they make sure to know like, these big shootouts. Yeah, don't get me wrong. Like it's crazy. But like it's not. True.
And they shoot like in the club, but they have a body count that they don't. That is not good. Like,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
I think the way that they handle guns in that movie is like, I mean, granted, it's still excessive, but like it's way better than.
It's like you guys can't be doing this.
You shouldn't be doing it.
You're costing the city a lot of money.
Yeah.
Chris Tucker the same way when
people.
he blows up that car in the
right. It's like,
what did you just blew up a city block.
I mean, because we do live in a world where a man can lay on his back with his hands up, legs spread, and get shot in the leg, and get shot at. Sorry, let me correct myself. He can get shot in the leg, but they shot at him 3 times.
He can wait. No, 3 times.
They shot 3 times, and what was said was they weren't trying to shoot him; they were trying to get the autistic kid.
But
that's an official statement.
But he was saying.
This is what worker was saying. Only reason I'm trying to bring it up is because like these
honestly, I can't with that story. That
I didn't
is one
even
of the most,
know that they shot 3 times.
They shot 3 times, hit him in the leg, but the statement
they were trying to kill.
They were trying to get
a mentally handicapped
who was playing with a toy truck.
Playing with a toy truck, sitting on the ground.
But the worker
with nobody around them.
Cross-legged, sitting on the end.
What's his name? Charles. Charles said he doesn't have a gun.
The only reason I even bring this up because like we're watching so much stuff.
I can't.
I am his caseworker or whatever it is.
He says it. He screams it. He says his legs are spread. His hands are straight up.
He literally couldn't be in a more defenseless position.
But the thing that's disgusting about it is they were trying to shoot. And this is not to like take it off the realm, but it's like we've become so desensitized to stuff in media. Whereas like when I look at these movies, we celebrate this kind of stuff in movies. And I'm not saying like these movies aren't fun to watch, but this is a part of the problem. Like these movies right here, and it's not to like take it out on Eddie and them, but it's like this is just an example of like this is a thing.
Hey,
yeah, but
it's fun. I didn't mean to do it for Eddie. I didn't mean to do it for Eddie.
You're doing a sermon at my church, right? Or
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do it for Eddie. But like watching so many things recently and the RNC ending, and it's like and seeing this movie and what cops do in this movie, it's like, yo, we've been seeing this for years.
Yeah, Americans love violence. We love it. I mean, this movie is so violent.
Extremely.
In this one, this is we have the first instance in the series where someone else refers to Eddie as black.
Oh
yeah.
Wait, when?
Wait, who?
At the end. When,
Right. So there are only 2 moments in this movie where blackness comes up at all. One is when Eddie, when the cop's like yelling at him again, he's like, hey man, is this a black thing?
It's so
random. It's a random
throws
joke.
It in at the end
and the
of
guy's
scene.
like, oh, shut up. Kind of, right? Like he's just
it's
like
literally like, is this a black thing? Like it goes like the theme song immediately plays like it was his tagline.
And it's like, and I was just like, what?
They just wanted to remind the audience that, hey, you were watching this movie. It was a black guy the whole time. Did you notice?
So late in the movie. For no
reason. Doesn't get brought up again. Nobody's
they all get kicked out, but he, for some reason, needs to single out himself and go, is this a black? Like, everyone is kicked out of the office, but then he goes, is this a black thing about him? Like, no, Eddie. No.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a joke, but it's just like, like you're not recognizing, nobody recognizes the race. Anyway, which is fine. I don't know. We talked about that. And then the end is like, he's like, is this really your uncle's house? And he's like, yeah, trust me. And then he leaves, and the 2 people walk up.
Yeah.
And
they're like, what are you guys doing here? Who's that black guy?
Who's that black guy?
But then also right before this, Eddie kind of brings up a black thing. When he goes, you guys are getting more and more like me every day. Pretty soon, y'all gonna
have afro,
have afros and big dicks. Okay, okay.
I mean, this
movie didn't need that, but thank you.
Well, I'm not blaming Eddie. That's the editor. That's the editor, because Eddie said like 5 different things.
Yeah,
and they just went with that one.
That's the one.
but all black people have afros, bro. I mean, that's just
and
the
big
thing.
dicks.
And big dicks.
I do have an afro. So when
I thought you were going to say something else, and I was like,
but
yo.
he did. He said everything. He said, I do have an afro.
Yeah, I was like, hey, yo, bro. I was like, hey, yo. I wanted to let it go. Hey, I don't want it. Hey, Braylock. I see what you did there, brother.
I do
ladies,
have an afro.
Ladies, just so you know, because I know we like to clarify who's saying what on this podcast. I know we like to clarify. Just to clarify, John wanted everyone to know that
he
has an afro.
As a black man, he's got an afro.
An afro.
Oh my God, you
know what I'm
guys
saying?
are wrong.
Just so y'all know.
All right.
JB has an afro.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh no. Anyway. Oh no. My parents listen to this.
Your parents listen. Hey, Papa Braylock, your son
Mama,
said
Papa
thank
Braylock.
you. Your son said thank you on the podcast.
Thank you for the afro.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that afro. His dad's like, yeah, he got an afro. Runs in the family.
I hate everything. I hate everything. Anyway, oh God, where were we?
Oh man.
This is why women hate men so much.
No, I didn't. We didn't say it.
None of us. We aren't responsible for this.
No, we didn't do this.
All right. So, so I don't even know what happens really next. I mean,
What did you guys think about the through line of I didn't used to always be a cop?
That I didn't.
that was
like.
weird.
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
really
That I
weird.
didn't like.
It wasn't in the first movie.
It
at
wasn't
all.
in the first movie, and
Why
like,
can't he just have been a cop?
right? I mean, like, I don't know. We've talked about this before. We talked about this with the first one, and we also talked about it with Blue Streak of like how like other experiences like help to influence. But it was not a part of the first movie.
No.
So like, couldn't he have just
No,
been?
we know what it is to me. To me, not to cut you off, but to me, it's
No,
like this that thing
please.
to justify why he's so good at his job. It's like he can't
'Cause
just
he
be
was
a
a
good
crook.
cop. He was a crook. That's why he knows more. It's like, how come this black dude knows
Knows
more than
more than
everybody
white
else?
cops.
Oh, because he was one of the bad guys.
Yeah.
So that makes him. That explains why he's an anomaly. He just can't be good.
But like he,
It's
I don't
true.
know.
He
like-
just can't be good.
But
true.
I think that part of it too, though, is like in Detroit things are different. That was such a big part
That's
of the first movie.
main thing.
So like,
there's way more crime, so he knows about
exactly. So like, even not being a cop can be part of that, but it didn't have to be that he was also a criminal.
it. Yeah, like he broke into people's houses. And
Yeah,
stuff
like,
that.
what?
No, man,
like-
he was just a good cop. He was a street cop. The worlds are different. The
Like-
crimes are different.
yeah,
And the
So
way
it
that
was
you
very
police
upsetting.
is different. I didn't like that at all. Also because like it didn't go anywhere. It didn't really add anything to his character. It's not like they explored that
Right.
in any way other than just a justification for why he could do those things.
Yeah.
And it was just like, and also they didn't really care about it either. And like they're just like, oh, like great, he's like helping these cops like break the law, I guess.
Yeah, which is insane. And it's like, ugh.
Yeah, I didn't like that. Yeah, so because like he also like figures this thing out pretty quickly. It's just about how they're gonna find the evidence to catch them.
Yeah. Mhm.
And I'm just trying to remember, like, I guess the same thing happened in the first movie too. He like pretty much figured out like almost immediately who it was, and then he was just trying to figure out how to catch them.
Yeah, how to like prove it.
Yeah. What are the other? I mean, we talked about a lot of things. Oh, should we talk about the cement truck driving?
Oh, when he just like crashes through
Just
the
how
street.
crazy it was.
It was, yeah. I was just like, oh, y'all.
There were a lot of
y'all
parts-
almost killed police officers.
Yeah,
And a dude leaving his house.
yeah.
And I was just like, why? It's just supposed to be funny that he can't
It's supposed to
drive.
be fun, but also not only that he can't drive, but that they chose a cement truck. And
I mean, it is funny that
like
he
the
chose
size
cement
of that, like all of that stuff was
I
fun.
kind of wanted to talk about Bridget. What's her last name? Bridget Nielsen.
Oh yeah,
Bridget Nielsen.
who's
'Cause-
the main bad guy?
Yeah, she's like the henchman, but who like basically is the bad guy. For a lot of you young people, you may remember her because she was married to Flavor Flav, and they had a TV show together, which was terrible. Anywho, I think about her because this is right after Rocky.
Wow.
When she was in Rocky, right? Rocky 3.
Oh man,
Because she was
Didn't see it.
yeah.
when she was the Russian's like wife or handler.
Okay.
Basically, she was in it, so she was like kind of a big deal because she was like a model, right?
Yeah.
Right.
But when I think about it, so you had this famous model. Like she spoke very little words, and then even though she was a bad guy, they made sure to know that she was a femme fatale, right? In this
Very
movie.
much so.
Like you knew who it was.
Yeah.
But my
She
thing
didn't
is-
try to disguise herself much at all. Like she wore one wig.
Yeah.
at one point.
one time. It was at the beginning, and he just yanks it right
Yeah.
off. But
But she didn't wear. But like the thing that I didn't understand about that, I was like, you're wearing a wig then, but when you robbed the place, you were in your blonde hair.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
Like everybody saw who you were. You didn't hide your face or anything.
Yeah, and then the thing too, because Eddie does it for some reason. Him keep calling her big bitch kept throwing me off.
Yeah.
and it was like because he is still the. This is
Yeah.
my thing. As the good guy, right? As the good guy, to me, he shouldn't have been the one. Even if they wanted a character to say that, which they shouldn't have, he shouldn't have been the one to do it.
But-
because
That was
him
weird.
saying it makes it okay.
Right.
So, like for instance, if it would have been like tag it. and like he'd be like, "Hey man, don't say that." But like the fact that
But
the
nobody
lead of
said don't say that.
I know, but that's my thing is like for the hero of this movie, the black
Superhero.
dude, to call the white female lead big bitch the entire movie.
Yeah, no, I mean that's a big problem with just how women are represented and but specifically were represented back then.
But
It was
also,
totally
it's
cool
the
for him
lack.
to say that.
But also, to me, it's like it's disrespectful to her and it's disrespectful to Eddie because to me, what it does is it's saying like, and this is too deep, but it's saying like they don't respect our women. Because already he does not have any relationship, but it's like he's calling this woman he's calling her a bitch the entire movie.
But
I
that's almost too nuanced for this movie. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah, it is.
like
Also,
no,
because Eddie uses that word all the time in his stand-up.
Yeah, true.
But also just like, I think if Eddie were somebody else, like say this were the sequel to the Sylvester Stallone movie that they tried to make, he would have been like that big bitch. Like,
Yeah.
I think that
They're very
would've-
disrespectful.
Yeah, I think that would have been what would have happened, which is
yeah.
like wrong. That's
It's like, how dare this woman try to step into our
And I
man's
almost wanted her
world.
to just be the bad guy. Like in my mind, I was like, she was more imposing than the main, like the actual reveal of the main villain. She did like.
I
she
mean, it's
could've just
cool
been
that
the
she's
villain.
like the main muscle. You know what I mean? Like, she could have been the villain too.
because that's kind of
but
a trope,
I
like,
like-
the big woman who like is. I mean, they
Well,
did
the
it in
femme
Kick
fatale.
Ass.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
like
definitely
that's the
true.
thing. She could have been the mastermind to me. Like there was no reason that we even needed that other guy. Because I don't even remember him, honestly. I forgot he was the bad guy until James told me, like, oh, yeah, we got to watch this part because, like, he's the bad guy at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Hey, man. Well, Catwoman.
Stop it.
Makes
Stop
women's
it right
main
now.
bad guy. So.
Stop it.
Yeah.
And the main hero. So
Guys, but you know
that
what?
movie's great, right?
Can I tell you one
No,
thing?
I guess so. I guess.
Yeah, it's not bad. This movie, and you know how I feel about this word, this movie could have had multiple swirls.
Yes, it could have.
Oh man.
Multiple
I'm so
swirls.
excited.
I've even done in the Playboy Man.
No, I thought about the Playboy Mansion, but people were like,
Yeah.
he was doing real work that time.
Yeah.
Strip club. He's in the strip club,
He got
right?
kicked out. They didn't even do anything. He was just confronting the guy, getting under his
That's
skin.
what I'm saying.
Yeah,
So
but
the
you
strip
don't wanna
club-
be the
yeah,
person
not
having
in the
sex
Playboy
with the
Man.
Playboy
Not if you ain't invited for real.
You're that.
And there could have been two more swirls. I'm gonna leave it alone.
Oh my goodness.
Two more swirls.
Gracious.
This movie could have been full of swirls because my
just so-
man wasn't a sex
But
symbol.
For
y'all.
those who were wondering, though, like the end of the movie is literally just like they go to this like I don't know, this trucking yard where they're it's like guns. Like the whole thing is like, oh, they're selling guns. And like Rosewood also we didn't even talk about the fact that like he has his whole thing is like
arsenal.
he loves Rambo or something.
Yep, Rambo poster on the wall.
He's got a Rambo poster, which I thought was like, I was like, was that a wink to the fact that Sylvester Stallone was supposed to be in the first Beverly
Oh, that
Hills
would've been
Cop?
interesting.
And then, and he just loves guns, and they're like, we got to talk about this, but they never talk about it.
A cop who loves guns.
And
loves
yeah,
shooting
they all
people.
shoot up the place, and they kill literally every single bad guy. Don't arrest anybody because they're all dead. And and then the other guy gets fired, and
The other guy gets fired. The guy who thinks that it's ludicrous that
yelling at them.
that these insubordinate cops shot up a bunch of, albeit villains, but they are people.
Oh, they meet.
They
this
fire the guy
who's mad they killed everyone.
Yeah, who's mad that they killed everyone. That's the guy who gets fired.
Yeah. Once again, just like the end of the first movie, just
Yeah.
like being like, no, please. Anyway, woo! Okay, and then yeah, he goes back to, and then the car's all messed up, but it doesn't matter because he saved the day in Beverly Hills. And yeah, okay, that's the end of the movie. So yeah, it's time for the cause, I think.
No, I was
what's that?
thinking. No,
What?
I was thinking, and I don't know if you guys have ever seen this. Have you guys seen the movie Hancock? Because
What, the Will Smith movie?
yeah, the Will Smith movie Hancock.
What are you doing?
Yeah, no, because there's this movie with
Didn't you already do Hancock?
time out.
No, I was just wondering, like, is it good? You guys
Wait.
think that movie is any good?
Wait,
Didn't we review
time out.
Hancock?
What are we doing?
No, do you guys Hancock? Is that a good movie? I just heard about this.
What year is this? What year
I
is
just
this,
heard about
Jerah?
this movie.
I don't know. 2016.
No,
2016.
2016.
I just
What
heard
are you
about this movie,
Why are you talking about
Hancock.
Hancock?
No, I just heard this movie Hancock with. It's like it's supposed to be cool. Like he's like a superhero.
We don't do retro
No.
shit on this show.
We're not doing Hancock.
What?
We solved Hancock.
What are you
It's
talking
not a
watched
good movie.
Hancock.
No, I just wanted to know.
No.
You made us watch
What?
Hancock.
We're not talking about Hancock.
I don't remember.
Stop
doing
talking
any
about
of that.
Hancock.
You couldn't pick another cop movie.
Oh my
doing-
God.
I don't remember doing.
You
any
couldn't
of
pick
that.
Miami Vice or
I
something.
don't remember doing any of that. So
Wow.
What's wrong with you?
Okay,
James?
it's time for the cause.
You apologize to the people. I apologize for James III for bringing up that god awful Will Smith movie that Will Smith doesn't even acknowledge exists.
I stand by it.
Wait.
No, he does acknowledge.
Yeah, he does acknowledge it.
He doesn't acknowledge Wild Wild West.
Wild Wild West. He acknowledges that as a mistake, and he moved forward.
Wow, wow.
Wow, wow, wait, wait, stop it. You guys are confusing me. It's time for the call.
Wait, that was
We're gonna
most random tangent.
We're gonna rate. We rate films not based on how much we like them or how well we think they were critically, but whether they help the cause of more leading actors of color in film. We give it a black fist if it helped the cause, a white palm if it was so-so, or nothing if it didn't help at all. Y'all ready for this? Y'all ready for this? All right.
That was
this random
started
singing.
by
Sexy, y'all ready for this?
I know. All right, you ready? Okay, so
Wait,
shut up.
what are you doing? Are you doing 1, 2, 3, or 3, 2, 1?
I'm gonna do 3, 2, 1.
Okay, cool.
All right, here we go. Close my eyes. Do I know what I'm giving this? Okay.
I think I know what I'm getting.
I think I do.
3, 2, 1. Oh,
2 fists in a palm.
2 fists in a palm. Isn't that what Beverly Hills Cop the first one got?
Producer Nick.
Producer Nick.
You failed, Producer Nick. Producer Nick.
You should know off the top of your head
the first
every
negative
rating
thing.
of every movie that we've ever done.
We don't care how many podcasts you do, Producer Nick.
First negative thing we've said about Producer Nick on air is to not know something we did a year ago.
All right.
Can I start? I should probably
Yeah,
start.
you
start.
I wasn't sure what to give it,
Yeah, I'm
especially
interested.
since this movie made so much money and I can't remember if I was the one that gave it a palm last time.
Probably
Yeah, I
because
don't
you a
remember.
hater.
No, hey, come on. Come on, bruh. I'm not a hater. These ratings are not about if the movie was good or bad, but it's about if it helped the cause. And I was thinking about this, and I don't know if this movie in particular is a movie that helped the cause or not. I was stuck. Like, it made a lot of money, and it was a sequel starring a black person. So
Yeah.
all those things are like great.
That's a good thing.
But like, I don't know if since it made a lot of money, like, it makes people want to continue to make this movie. But I remember talking about this with these types of movies. But I remember talking about this with Beverly Hills Cop, and I think I did give it a palm now that I think about it. It's like this created an archetype that was that people kept trying to reproduce, and it kept getting more and more watered down. Like there are few. I've already talked about Rush Hour on this episode, but like that's one that's like, oh, it's better, and they kind of flip it in a way that's like interesting and new, and there's a freshness to it. But like, I don't think that what came after this is necessarily something that is positive. And then I also think that a movie like this really helps Eddie Murphy a lot. Like, it makes you go, I want to cast this guy again, but I don't know if it necessarily makes Hollywood want to cast more black people. But since it made a lot of money, it's like, yeah, maybe it did. So I think I gave it a palm. Maybe it doesn't necessarily mean so that it helped, but I think I'm on the fence is what that palm means.
That makes sense.
So yeah.
I'll go next. I gave this movie a fist, even though I know I reviewed it, I kind of didn't like it. I gave it a fist kind of for the fact that it made a bunch of money. It was a sequel with a black dude. And it spawned, I know that the movies it spawned weren't the best, but I'm kind of happy it even spawned those movies because it gave people of color like jobs and like a shot. Yeah. I mean, the movies weren't great. I mean, he got another one after this. Like, this even spawned a TV show that, didn't get picked up, but now they're talking about making a fourth one.
Yeah.
And this also helped with the legend and helped build the icon status of Eddie Murphy. True. Mm-hmm. So to me, it's like,
do a franchise.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So to me, it's like, how many black dudes have a franchise?
Yeah.
I mean, to be truthfully honest, Will Smith ain't even got no franchise.
Right.
Like,
Well, Bad Boys.
I mean, but the thing is, like,
Doesn't
Men
he
in
have
Black.
several? Doesn't he have several?
well, no, well, like, but the thing is, like, he doesn't. What I'm saying is, like, Eddie Murphy.
Men in Black.
Eddie Murphy is Beverly Hills Cop.
Right, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No, yeah.
Bad Boys is Will Smith and Martin Lawrence, and they have two. If the third one comes out, cool. But they have two movies. Even Men in Black is like he always
that's him
had
and Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah, and then he had Josh Brolin. Like it wasn't Will Smith.
Yeah.
In
Well, Josh Brolin was like it was Will Smith.
Yeah, but I know, but I'm saying, but like, but Josh Brolin at that time was huge.
Yeah.
Arguably.
No, don't do it.
At that in Men in Black 3?
A draw,
No.
because
No,
there was
dude.
It was
enough
not
hate.
a draw.
Are you?
I
Are we talking
disagree.
about? Are we talking about box office? We even saying no for?
I disagree.
Josh Brolin, why? Because of No Country for Old Men?
At that point, bro, he was in movies that not only were getting critical acclaim, but he actually was making money. Will Smith at that point was on he was trying to come back. Remember?
He was hot. Like there was a reason that you put Will Smith and Josh Brolin together. I think not only
I'm not saying he wasn't hot. I'm saying he was not on Will Smith's level. That's a different thing.
Do you not remember do you not even okay.
I remember. I know Josh Brolin
wasn't big. Do you remember like when he had that downward spiral where like even right now Will Smith is still trying to make that Will Smith comeback? Can we acknowledge that exists
now? But that Men in Black 3,
that was the start. That was it. That was a part of the era.
No, all those movies that you feel like were his downward spiral that happened in 2008 made a lot of money. Hancock made a crack load of money.
But wasn't
7
Men in
Pounds
Black-
made a lot of money.
Wasn't Men in Black 3 after Earth or no? Am I wrong?
It was.
I might be wrong.
I think it was After Earth.
Yeah.
Like
I don't remember exactly what. But Men in Black 3 made money. Like they all
did.
made
Yeah,
money.
and Roger Ebert thought it was the best one, which I 100% disagree with.
I mean, he was sick at that
of
point.
course.
He was sick. Roger Ebert was sick at that point in his life, so let's not.
All right.
What I'm saying is Eddie had a franchise that was his.
That's true.
Like straight up, he is
fair.
Beverly
All right,
Hills Cop.
fair enough.
So once Black Panther comes out, hopefully we have another black man with a franchise.
Yeah.
That is true. I think Will Smith could have had a franchise like Independence Day. Well, I don't know. I guess not.
That wouldn't have been his, right?
I don't know. It's hard because all of Will Smith's big movies that he did in early on were like with other people.
The movies that were supposed to be franchises didn't pop as much. Like they almost made sequels to I Am Legend. That would have been his. They almost made sequels to that.
They were going to make a prequel because he dies at the end.
But that's what I mean.
Spoiler.
You know what I mean? They were going to make a second movie, and Hancock. They were going to make more to bring it up again in this episode. But they were going to make more, but they just didn't do as well.
He didn't get them.
Yeah,
I wonder if he wanted to make more.
I think so. He helped develop.
Oh,
he
yeah,
helped
he was a
develop the
franchise.
new.
Yeah, Men in Black came. Men in Black 3 came before After Earth.
Okay.
It was the first movie he did in like 4 years though, because he made Hancock and 7 Pounds in 2008. But like I said, even though people were like, oh, those movies weren't as good, they still made a lot of money.
Right,
like, they weren't
but-
critically as
But
well.
I think that's what we mean. Like, I don't think I necessarily mean that Josh Brolin to say what I was saying. I don't think Josh Brolin made nearly as much money as Will Smith.
Also, he couldn't have greenlit a movie. I mean, he did. The movie that he greenlit was Jonah Hex, and then like that didn't do well at all, and people were like, okay, he can't do this by
Yeah, but
himself.
Jonah Hex is also a weird character.
Yeah, and also he was making he had
just
another
saying-
movie right after that.
I'm just saying.
I feel like you don't know a lot about
Guardians of
Josh
the
Brolin.
Galaxy. I know
You're
a lot
right.
about Josh
No,
Brolin.
you're right.
What I'm
That's
talking
true.
about is Hollywood.
Guardians is a good
I'm
point.
talking about. Are we talking about like a star meter, or are we talking about like critically? Like critically, Josh Brolin is considered a better actor than Will Smith. Yes.
I feel like when it comes to like audience draw at this point.
How did we get on this
No, because
conversation?
I'm saying I like bring
This
facts.
is important
Yeah.
for this
I think it is
episode.
because it's
I
like
think
this
Beverly
is
Hills
say
Cop
like
2, we gotta
Jonah
talk
Hex
about
came
Josh
out in
Brolin.
2010 before Men in Black 3.
and he had other big movies that came out after that, didn't he?
He did well. He did well in the Coen Brothers films. He did well in True Grit
Right.
and No Country for Old Men. He made W, which like again
Right.
nobody saw a lot. I think a lot of people saw True Grit, but that's it. Like,
Yeah. I just think I remember there being a lot of heat around him at that point.
I remember when Josh Brolin was cast in that movie. It was a very big deal.
Yeah, I think I remember that being.
was
I
a
think it was a
huge
big
deal.
deal in actor circles. I don't know if
Yeah,
it was
that
as
might
big of a
be it.
deal for like the American public.
Yeah. People might
I
still
don't
be
agree
like,
with that.
who is that?
Yeah, maybe. If you
People
know who Josh,
listening to this
if you
right
don't
now,
think
I
Josh
bet
Brolin,
you.
Who is Josh
if you don't know who
Brolin?
Josh Brolin is, tweet us. Be like,
Yeah, tweet at us if you don't know who Josh
if you
Brolin
don't
is.
know who
I am
Josh Brolin
interested
is.
about that. I mean, I know who Josh Brolin. Josh Brolin was also in American Gangster.
And he is
As a
currently
Thanos. He's Thanos.
Yeah, I mean, Josh Brolin was in Goonies. I mean,
You're
my
right,
man has been
right.
working for a long
Yeah.
time.
Goonies
All right,
never say die.
here we
Okay,
go.
All right, sorry.
And
Second weirdest tangent we've ever
that
had.
is the biggest tangent ever. I haven't given my rating yet, so I gave it a fist. I gave Beverly Hills Cop 2 a fist because, well, I mean, yes, it proved, like Jerah's saying, it proved that a black man could do a franchise. They made a third one. It made a lot of money. It made more money internationally, which is a huge deal today. Which again puts another little notch in this theory that I have about making names familiar, and then also I mean Chris Rock got his first movie role in it too. I mean Chris Rock obviously isn't the biggest movie star, but he was great. It was great that Eddie Murphy was like, could be like, boom, you come with me. You know what I mean? These kind of things need to happen. He did that in Beverly Hills 1 with Damon Wayans. So,
You go ahead. Keep
now,
those
could there have been more? Could there have been more done? Maybe. You know what I mean? Could have been probably some more black people in this film for sure. But I do think like it added to the legend status, like Jerah was saying, of Eddie Murphy, which is huge. Like people can always be like, hey, Eddie Murphy's bigger than like most white stars. So like, don't tell me that a dark skinned black man can't be the lead of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's true.
You know, it got a couple lower points for the swirl stuff, but you know, I mean, what can we do? You know,
And like a thing I want to say too, just so everybody knows, like I'm not hating. Like Eddie Murphy is definitely a big reason why I do any of the stuff that I do.
Yeah.
So like, you know what I mean? I was just on the fence.
Yeah,
about
he's
this
inspired about a bunch of people.
movie. I was just on the
Did
fence.
All right.
he really inspire you, James? Because if you know what I'm saying?
What do you mean? Did he
What's
really
happening?
inspire
I'm
me?
saying because I would still give Will Smith a fist.
Do you want to talk about the time that he
Wait,
said,
did you give Will Smith a fist for
could
everything?
not say fuck is one of my favorite things. His impressions.
Tell Bill
are-
Cosby have a coconut smile and shut the.
Tell Bill have coke smile and shut the fuck up. It's so funny.
It's so good.
Okay.
All right. That's enough. We've done.
No,
too many-
tell me more, James. Tell me more. Tell me more, James.
You didn't get that, which is a joke that Martin Lawrence almost completely rips off.
Completely.
You So Crazy
Oh,
with like
he completely rips it off.
the syrup sandwich.
Oh, yes, he does. Oh,
Just
it's like legit that.
You're doing the same
Yeah,
bit.
same thing.
You're doing the same bit.
Okay, we got 2 black fists, 1 white pop, and that's it. Thank you guys so much for listening for a year. We appreciate it. If you haven't rated and reviewed us on iTunes yet, please go do that. Give
Please
us 5
do it.
stars. I'm doing like half of the plugs right now.
Yeah, let's just go straight into the plugs, baby. Straight into this plugs.
Straight into these plugs. Great. Let's do it. We got at Blackman Podcast on Twitter and Instagram.
Cheer.
Blackmanpodcast.com for show dates. Speaking of shows, we coming to you, LA, Hollywood.
Yeah, we are. Hollywood
Blackman
City.
will jump in Hollywood.
Bow, 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 bow.
And
Can we go to Beverly
Hills? We got
have to.
It's a gated community. I don't know how we're getting in. And then, and what we will be doing is performing with our team Astronomy Club at the UCB Franklin on August 18th and August 23rd.
Yep.
At 8 p.m. on the Thursday the 18th, and then at 9:30 at the 23rd, and then we have a performance 22nd at Sunset, UCB Sunset, which is their other theater.
Yep.
That's going to be an improv performance. That's on the 22nd at 10:30 p.m.
Yep. Yeah.
And then we all Black Men Can't Jump is performing a live recording at the Hollywood Improv.
Yeah.
Saturday the 20th.
Yeah.
At 5 p.m. Yeah, it's a little
Yeah.
early.
So it's gonna be a little
only
early.
$5. All these shows are only $5, but it's gonna be great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You get to party at the end of the night with us, maybe.
Yeah, I mean,
Hang out
listen,
with us.
Listen, it's gonna be fun, and this is the thing. When we do these live shows, right?
Oh,
we like
God.
to make sure that people like can enjoy the. Don't look at me like that, Jason.
I just don't know where this is going. I just don't know where it's going.
We love to have a little audience interaction. So it's like if you want to chime in and you want to create a swirl, hey, bring your best
Oh, yeah.
ideas.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
your best
bring
swirl.
your best ideas.
Bring your best porn
Wait, what did
ideas.
y'all think I was gonna say?
I thought you were gonna be like, if you want to create a swirl in real life.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
or
guys,
like,
I'm
I didn't
not
think you were
some-
gonna say that, but I thought you were gonna say like, look, yo, if you out there,
Say
I mean, no, I mean, listen, first off, James, you know me well. Because my second part is, yeah, look, man, we knew to LA, man. We trying to see the sights, man. If you can tell us what a nightlife is, you know what I'm saying? Where the cool spots to hang, let us know.
Cool. And then for me, at John Braylock on all my social media accounts, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, johnbraylock.com for videos and stuff. James?
James Third Comedy. Third is 3RD. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, JamesThirdComedy.com. I don't know why I did.
Nobody knows why.
Yeah, so you can find me on, Snapchat, Instagram. Listen, again, y'all can tweet me, hashtag the thirst is real. If y'all got locations that I should
The
visit.
thirst is real.
Wait, if you got locations, I should visit. Hashtag the thirst is real.
Yeah, like say they got clubs,
Yeah,
bars. It's gonna be
Wow.
hot in LA, so hashtag thirst is real. You know what I'm saying? And that's not because it's thirsty, it's because it's hot in LA, and I'm gonna need to get some water or
So
libation.
hot in this
Yeah, sure.
room right now.
I'm sweating bullets.
All right, and that's it for us.
Thank y'all.
Wait, I don't even know what film we're reviewing next week.
We don't know yet,
yet.
so send
We
us
don't know
suggestions.
yet. Send us suggestions, but we won't get it.
We won't listen.
We won't.
Oh, we won't get it in time.
We'll add an addendum. All right, see you guys next week. Peace.
Peace.
And film that we are reviewing next week?
Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad.
We did a poll. People said it's not cheating, so I don't want to hear it.
Jonathan so cheated.
Jonathan did a poll without talking to nobody.
He already.
Suicide Squad starring Will Smith. You guys know you want us to review that movie. Come on, everybody wants to review that movie.
You know what? I can't wait till we do it because I'm very curious to see who has more screen time and who's top
we'll
bill.
see. Well, here's my thing. If Will Smith has the most screen time of a male actor, then I think I'm still correct.
No, I mean, I agree. If Will Smith has more screen time than any man in this movie, Will Smith is the lead actor in this
you
movie.
guys, it's Will Smith in a movie.
Exactly.
So we got to review it.
And we love Will Smith.
All right. So we'll see you next week. Peace.
Peace.
That was a HeadGum podcast.